Netcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Bandwidth for Ham Nation is provided by Cachefly at CACHEFLY.com. Ham Nation is brought to you by Squarespace.com, the fast and easy way to create a high-quality website or blog. For a free trial and 10% off your first purchase on new accounts, go to Squarespace.com and use the offer code NAB4. And by Pond5, the world's stock media marketplace. If you're a media maker who needs stock video clips, photos, illustrations, music tracks, or sound effects, check out Pond5 for instant downloads at the best prices anywhere. And for 50 files absolutely free through May 31st, go to pond5.com/twit. This is Ham Nation with Bob Heil, episode 44, recorded April 17th, 2012.
Well, I appreciate the opportunity to bring Ham Nation to NAB this year. I know that the party tomorrow night will be live streamed, but this is great to bring all of your viewers into amateur radio.
I think it's so much fun.
We have some of the greats here. Sitting on your left is the old smoke and solder George Thomas.
We've met a couple of times, but as soon as he came up on the stage, I gave him a hug because I just love smoke and solder.
Isn't it great?
I love that. He's just great. This guy is funny.
Leo, they wouldn't let him bring you soldering iron. They're afraid he's going to burn something up.
Yeah.
Fire marshal called me at the door.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, so no problem.
You're kidding.
No.
Oh, okay. I believe everything.
Next to him is Julian.
Hi, Julian. Nice to meet
Leo.
you.
Nice to meet you again.
Julian has become a really big part of Ham Nation because he goes out and does all these videos.
Yeah.
And they've really been great. So we appreciate all the work that you and Hannah do with Gordon.
Well, thank you. I wish I could rise to the levels of George, because George is my absolute hero when it comes to video.
Yeah.
I love those things.
He really is amazing.
Sound effects and all. And then, looky here, Kirk Harnack.
Mr. Radio Hairs.
Mr. Radio, who has a great show on the TWiT network. If you haven't discovered it, check it out. And
This Week in Radio Tech, we'll give it a plug for TWiT. Yeah.
Glad you're here.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What's your call?
KD5 FYD, Kilo Delta 5 Foxtrot Yankee Delta.
Now, is it true that you carry your handy talker with you when you do the weather reports and that?
If the weather's going to be bad, I would take the handy talkie to the TV station.
Yeah.
To get on the.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
He does news on what station?
I do fill in weather. When they on Fox 17 in Nashville, when they can't find anybody else to do the weather, they call.
And believe me, they look long and hard.
They do. The phone rings. Hi, Roberta. It's you're scraping the bottom of the barrel, Roberta.
Bill Shatner couldn't do it. We couldn't get Kevin Pollak, so we're calling you, Kirk.
And then our friend Tim. Tim Schwieger has been a friend for a long time.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation to sit here with you for a couple of moments.
From BSW, Broadcast Supply West, BSWUSA.com. I'm going to give you a plug.
It's Broadcast Supply Worldwide.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Back in your day when you were a young pup, it was West. But Universe will be next.
Thanks to the internet, you're everywhere.
We're
right?
everywhere, man. Yeah. We're everywhere. We're everywhere.
And I can't tell you how many Bob Heil microphones, before Bob started giving them to me, that I've purchased from BSWUSA.com. And
really appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we so much enjoy sponsoring the ham party at NAB when Bob invited us to do that. And people have asked us, well, why you don't sell ham gear? You don't sell the radios and that type of thing. But our customers, we've been in business now, next year will be 40 years, and our customers, undoubtedly that our radio station engineers, so many of them are amateur radio operators, and for us to be able to give something back to these people, it was very important to us, and it's been a wonderful opportunity that you've given us to be a sponsor of that and be part of the community, because our impression is a radio station engineer is the hero.
That's right.
They are the hero of the radio station, the unsung person that the listeners never get to see or know anything about, but they are the heroes. And with them being involved in amateur radio, the things they do for the community is exactly the type of thing that they would do at their radio stations. It's just a neat community, and we're so delighted to be involved.
Where that picks up, though, is the fact that about 80% of the engineers, when you go into radio and TV stations, about 80% of those guys are hams. And they're like George. They're not afraid. You give them a soldering iron and a wire cutters, and we'll make it happen. Or we might burn something up. There'll be some smoke. But we get it done. And it's really true of so many of the stations are hams. And so now audio has become a very big part of amateur radio, and guess where they're turning to do the audio is to come to you guys. So we appreciate all of it. And I really appreciate you stopping by. We'll look for you tomorrow night at the ham radio reception and the
Can't wait.
And we're going to have some fun.
Great to see you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks
folks.
for
Thank
for stopping by. I really appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, we have so many levels of amateur radio. It's very simple. You don't have to have huge antennas. You don't have to have all kinds of transmitters. Today, there's simple little radios that transmitter and receiver together. And for under $1,000, you can get on the air and talk to the world. All you need is an antenna. And the antenna can be so simple. A piece of wire. You know, we made one on the air.
We made one. That was a great dipole antenna we made.
That's right. And a dipole antenna is so simple. We're going to let George tell you exactly how simple this is.
Bob's drawing one right now.
Well, hand that to George, and he's going to tell you what that is.
I have a message here, Mr. George, from Bob Heil. He says, "What the hell is that?"
That's right.
That's a good question. That's a dipole antenna. The feed line comes in here in the bottom.
Yep.
Then there's an insulator here in the middle, and off either side there's a wire supported by an insulator at either end. You tie a rope here or whatever, put it between a couple of trees, and that wire there has to be resonant. So the way you calculate that out, each side here is going to be 234 divided by the frequency, and that'll tell you how many inches to make that wire. Is that right, Bob?
That's right. Exactly.
You're basically making this half the total wavelength. Is that
That's
what
right.
you're doing?
Uh-huh.
So that magic number is just an easy shorthand way
Yes.
of converting the wavelength to inches.
Yeah.
He also did something interesting. Look how accurate this drawing is. Both ends of the dipole are slightly below the middle point.
Yes.
You did that on
remembers
purpose,
that.
right? That
Yeah.
wasn't an accident.
Well, most of the antennas can be what we call inverted V, and they get a little directivity that way, too, if you want to do that. But you can do them as a flat dipole, and there's where everybody gets in trouble. They think, oh, we got to put up all this stuff. Hey, if
It doesn't have to be perfect.
No, if you have it resonant, it'll work. I have a situation in my own home in Illinois. My trees are not wide enough to support 75 meters all the way across. So about 5 to 10 feet are hung into trees. Works fine, nobody knows. And so the main thing is just try it. Isn't it kind of like the weather?
Well,
I mean, like you just kind of guess. And
Exactly. It's an educated guess. But let me get educated a little bit here, since I'm not a novice, but I'm sort of in ham radio. I'm about to put up a G5 RV antenna.
Right.
Okay, and I bought the one that goes supposedly 80 meters to 10 meters. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I've got a 2-story house and a peaked roof, and then I've got land that goes down one side and goes up behind the house. But I've got enough room to spread this thing out.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Now the one I was going from your diagram, from your fancy schematic diagram there, the vertical line, okay, is that coax or is it ladder line or is it something else, or am I asking the wrong question?
No.
What's the vertical line?
That's the coax. That's the feed line.
And so how does the coax connect to these two wires at the top?
Oh, that's really hard. And what you got to do is
Chewing gum?
I use a piece of fiberglass or plexiglass, and I drill a hole in it, and you take the wire and you run it through here, you run it back, and you just wind it upon itself, and that's all you got to do. Out on the end of it, you do the same thing. We use an insulator of some kind, and you just take the wire through it, bring it back around, and wind it on itself. And that's what you do. It's so simple.
The center of the coax goes to
simple
one
that
side,
is.
and the outer goes to the other side, or is there a transformer there? or what?
Yeah, we got this together, okay?
Okay.
Now, bring up your feed line, and this is really cool. It's so simple. Here comes your feed line, and the shield goes to one side. Solder it. Call George. He'll teach you how to solder that.
Come on over, George.
Yeah. The center insulator goes over here and does that. That's it.
Okay.
That's it. And, of course, get out some good old bathtub caulk and make sure that you don't get water down in the coax and all of that. But that's how simple it is. And what an incredible thing happens when you do this. You go buy some wire at a hardware store, you hang this thing up and you plug it into your transmitter, and all of a sudden you're talking to somebody in South Africa.
That's
I mean, is there a better thrill, George? Julian?
No.
It's absolutely awesome.
No.
Now, do you need an antenna tuner for this?
Well, if it's resonant, no, not for one
But this
band.
is kind of a multi-band antenna, more with the G5 RB,
yeah.
more so than a dipole would be.
Exactly. The
Now-
G5's a little different than this. This is just a very simple dipole. And then from there you get into the G5. That's got a little different feed line, and that's why it'll work all the bands, and it works great. And then what happens is you get up the big boys, and we have the big boy sitting down here on the end of the table.
He snuck in where Tim was sitting.
Did.
Yeah.
Charlie, welcome. Charlie is in F4A, and he was the engineer of the year for NAB, and he has...
And we ain't talking choo-choos
No.
here either. No. Yeah.
Charlie, nice to have you.
Thank you, Bob.
Tell the audience some of your operations and what you do. Get into that microphone and let us hear it.
Yeah, Bob, give him some lesson in mic usage.
Well,
here.
I do use the Heil
You know about
microphone
that.
exclusively on ham radio.
Great mics.
Just got back from Croatia a month ago. Operated from 9A, 1A for the ARRL DX contest.
Now, explain 9-1. That's the call, right?
9A is like in the United States, we use W and K and N. In Croatia, their WK and N is 9A, and so their call sign at this particular contest group is 9A, 1A.
Yes. How long were you there?
I was there for about a week, but just there for the weekend, actually, to do the contest. I've been to Croatia a number of times because I used to work over there back years ago.
How many contacts did you make?
We made a little over 5,000.
Whoa!
I
Whoa!
got to ask a dumb newbie question.
No questions dumb the first time.
Why do you go to Croatia to do this? Is the signal better there?
Well, if people know where QRZ.com is, if they go to 9A, 1A,
Yeah.
And they scroll down, they will see quite a nice aluminum farm, I should say.
Okay.
Big antennas.
Antennas.
Yeah, big antennas. 3 over 3 on 40 meters, 6 over 6 over 6 on 20.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
They're
Look
on-
at those.
Look at those.
Yeah.
Holy
Look at that.
come on.
Whoa.
So this is a DX dream come true.
Yeah, and this station is set up as a contest station.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason that I go over for the ARRL contest is because the world works the United States. Okay, so it's an advantage for them to have somebody who can speak U.S. English.
Interesting.
I always say I'm from southern Croatia.
Right around Kentucky, kind of Louisville area there, something like that.
So, so it's an advantage for them to have a U.S. operator come over and operate because I can usually operate at a little bit faster rate than they can as far as the pilots are concerned.
Well,
Charlie, can I ask a question? Did you actually set those antennas up?
No, actually, I didn't. Those
That's
guys.
not you hanging there?
No, that's actually the guy hanging from the tower is 9A, 9A, Emil.
Wow.
Yeah, he did a lot of the tower work. A lot of those guys, they all work for Croatian radio and TV for the most part,
that's
by the
nice.
way. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
that's great.
Hey, Bob, we got something on this show that you don't usually have, and I'm very excited to say, a sponsor. So
Right
if
on.
you don't mind, I'd like to do a commercial right about now.
We
You
wanna
can-
hear about
You can
this.
continue on.
We want to hear about
Next
this.
time Tim comes here, I'm gonna hit him up.
got it. He's
I'm gonna
ready.
come with my tin pan out and say, "Hey, sir, how about a little love for Ham Nation?" Meanwhile, I got to tell you, Squarespace loves Ham Nation. In fact, Squarespace and Pond 5, two of our big sponsors for our coverage of NAB in general. And I've probably told you about Squarespace.com. And it's a great place for somebody who wants to make an amazing website. Everything you need, including, of course, the best hosting. You start with great hosting. Never goes down, always up. always secure, managed hosting. And let me tell you something, as somebody who has an unmanaged website, you want managed hosting, trust me. And Squarespace does it for you. Also, they've got the great software, the content management system that's running on top of that. They keep it up to date. They keep it secure. You don't have to. All you have to do is focus on your stuff, your content, whatever it is, whether you're a photographer, an artist, or you're a blogger. Maybe you have a store or a business. Squarespace is great for somebody who says, look, I've got a small business. I want to set up a website because I know I need to be on the web, but I don't want to have to pay a lot of money for a design. I don't want to pay a lot of money to somebody to run the place. You can do this yourself. You really can at squarespace.com, and find out by just clicking that green button. Try it for free. All you need is a name, email address, a password. You can even uncheck the email box. They'll never send you any email. I would leave it checked because that way you can find out when your password's running out and all of that. They've got a great iPhone, iPad, and Android app. Makes it easy to post and moderate content. Social integration for Twitter, Flickr, Facebook, all that stuff. So that's automatic. You're just going to love this. Try it for 2 weeks. You don't need a credit card, just that green button. If you decide to buy, get ready, stand back. I hope you're sitting down when you see this. The cost, $8 a month for the basic. That's when you buy a year-long package. You can go month to month if you want for $10 a month. And if you want unlimited pages, unlimited bandwidth, unlimited storage, it's just $16 a month when you buy a year package. That is unbelievable for hosting and software and the great support. They even have workshops, free webinars. If you go to workshops.squarespace.com, I'll have to type this in by hand because I've never been there on this particular computer. You can join those webinars and learn how to use all the great features at squarespace.com. These workshops are going on all the time. Look, this is designed to make you successful. I want you to try it. If you decide to buy, let's go back to that pricing page there. Add or take off, I should say, 10% if you use the offer code NAB4 on whatever your first purchase is for new sites. So get the annual plan. You'll save the most. Squarespace.com, NAB4 is the offer code. We now return you to Bob Heil, already in progress.
All right, thank you very much.
Wait a minute, Bob. You're wearing a Los Angeles Dodgers shirt.
You know why I have this shirt?
I hope it's not because you're a Dodgers fan.
No.
Oh.
I liked it. It was really cool.
I like the lining. It's kind of Dodgers lining. That's all right. I'll forgive you.
These are Robert Graham's. I have many
nice
of them.
Shirts, yeah.
I love the shirt. And I said, don't you have a St. Louis Cardinals or
That's
Angels
what you
or
need.
something? And they said, no. They had this in Pittsburgh. And I said, well, I like this, so I bought it.
Your friends at KMOX are not going to be happy.
No. But that's okay. But I love Robert Graham. That's why. Okay, so I'm sorry. Hey, before Charlie gets out of here, I want him to tell us one important thing. I'm going to ask all of you guys about this. Charlie, what has amateur radio meant to your life and your career?
Well, I became a ham when I was 12 years old.
Wow.
And it was a long, I won't tell the story about what it had to do with TV. Guy was messing with TV on Saturday morning when I was trying to watch cartoons.
So it's a defensive move.
It intrigued me as to why we couldn't pick up. So that's how I got involved in ham radio, because I went over and found the guy's house and saw what he was doing, and that's how I became a ham.
And now you got a whole business.
Yeah.
You're director of IT and engineering at Clear Channel. I mean, this is your life.
Yeah, it is. It is, and that's a lot of the work that I have to do, I can directly relate to ham radio, and ham radio has helped me with my work tremendously.
Huge number of broadcast engineers.
Yeah,
a
lot of that.
Yeah. That's great. Well, we appreciate you stopping by and letting everyone know about how important amateur radio is and how much fun we have working you out there when you're on all these expeditions. I thank you for doing that.
Enjoyed it.
We enjoyed it. And thanks for keeping Clear Channel up and running.
Yeah, we try to do that because we carry your program in my market.
I know. I wouldn't have a radio show without him, so thank you. I really appreciate it, Charlie.
Hey, George, this is something we've never been able to talk about, or we haven't talked about on Ham Nation. How does amateur radio figure into your life and your career? Because I know you've been in the broadcast.
You have a job?
Yeah. I say I do. Well, I got into radio when I was 16 years old. I was a disc jockey, sort of like Leo. I worked part-time while I was in high school and college. And the owners of the radio stations were hams. But I didn't... I wasn't a ham. I knew what it was. I bought the ARRL handbook and looked at it. And another disc jockey there was a ham. He loaned me his Smith Code Course record, but he couldn't find the book to go with it. So I didn't learn the code. And, I got out from there. I worked in television about 5 years. And then I went back into radio. As a matter of fact, I worked for the chain in Jackson that is now the Clear Channel cluster there for a number of years. And I guess it was 1991 I got my technician's class license. I'd been in radio for a number of years, and, it was about time, so I worked VHF and UHF, sort of like Kirk's been doing for years. But I didn't move on and get a general or an extra class license at that point because I was getting plenty of RF in my daily job, maintaining the transmitters. And then after I left, working full-time as an engineer, I'm in a sideline industry now related to broadcasting. I kind of missed it, and I had the incentive then to go ahead and upgrade, and I went from a technician to an extra in one session. And now I can get back in there and play with all these nuts and bolts and string wires out in the trees.
Or just play with us nuts.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
That's great. Well, I know that it's had a lot of bearing on your career and what you're doing in that part, so that's great. What is amateur radio doing for you right now? Are you getting any time to get on the air at all?
Well, I'm not right now. I just the day after Leo did, I got my general license.
Yes.
And just in the last, for my birthday came along end of February, and my dad, my sisters were, what do we get you? What do we get you? I said, tell you what, get me a gift certificate at a ham radio store online.
Ooh.
So they did. I got a few gift certificates, and I got some money to defray the cost of a power supply, because all these transceivers need an external power supply, right?
Sure.
A lot of them do.
Yeah.
And then the G5 RV antenna and some extra coax, and then I had to go buy the transceiver. And it's so hard to decide what to buy. Buy something used, buy something new, and ended up buying off from a guy on eBay. I got an ICOM IC7000 because that would let me be in my office and do 2 meter and 440 as well as the HF bands.
Yes.
Now I got to tell you, I've been on the radio for years. I've done engineering for years. I'm no stranger to a microphone, but I haven't gotten on the ham bands yet. I'm a little. What do I say?
You're like me. I'm with you. I have all the technology.
Yeah.
God, I got more technology than some people do in a lifetime.
Yeah.
But I'm scared.
What do you say to your first person? Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
And you say, hey, how's my signal? And what kind of transmitter are you using?
Now, so you're dispelling something for me. I guess I don't get on the ham radio and say breaker.
No, I know that much.
Oh.
I read Bob's book. Bob's got a great book. Have you ever seen Bob's book?
You loaned me his book.
Yeah.
For the general license.
Yeah. Bob's, you should republish that book.
We are in the middle. Michelle is going through it right now. We've had it rewritten as far as the verbiage and adding a lot of stuff because that book was written in 1976.
But a lot of it is about etiquette, about what you say, about how you respond. And that's one of the first things, of course, in 76, there were a lot of CB people out there. One of the first things you say is, this isn't CB.
To me, this is going to be like, I got a pilot's license about 15 years ago. So I'm on the radio in the plane with my instructor, and like, what do I say to the Memphis Tower?
Right.
And I was like, hi, I'm in a plane.
Yeah.
I had to learn all that.
I'm flying. What do I do?
Well, strangely enough, the weather is actually one of the things they talk about on ham radio quite a lot.
Quite a lot. Yeah, and some of them talk about their all of their ills and all that. But no. And then there are guys, when you get on with George and some of that group on 3850 and some of the places he hangs out, it's very technical.
Yes.
Well,
and that's what you move into. You'll get eased into that and discuss the technical side of it. And that's why I'm here. I've been doing this since 1956, and I was a technician for 17 years working VHF because I was building all these antennas, and they were shorter, and we could work all over the world on 6 meters in those days because the bands were open a lot.
That's before there was television, I think. I think there was nothing going on in 1956.
Hey, I probably have the record, Leo. I ran a kilowatt on 6 meters and 2 meters, had a 110-foot tower with with a 36-foot-long Telerex
How nice.
in 1958. I worked a television in Lindsborg, Illinois. That was 4 miles away, the next town.
But it is true that it's a lot less noisy.
Oh.
It was a lot less noisy then. It's very noisy
Yeah,
now. That's one of
but
the
we
problems I
had Channel 2, which is at 54 meg, and I was at 50 meg, and it's like, uh-oh. But you just, I just wait till then the television stations went off the air at midnight, so I could get on late, and that's what I did. But
Bob, I want to ask you or tell you, when I'm looking to get out of ham radio for myself and when I'm on the HF bands, when I first started working for Telos, I had just gotten my my technician license.
Mm-hmm.
And I was carrying a little handy-talkie to different cities that I would visit on behalf of Telos and Omnia.
Yep.
And I noticed that there was quite a difference from one city to another. Maybe you'd say the quality of the conversations that I was having.
Mm-hmm.
So in some places it was just a whole lot of ratchet jawing.
Right.
And in some places, like in California and like in Denver, Colorado, I noticed there was a lot of like rocket scientists talking on 2 meters and 440. I thought, this is interesting.
Right.
How do I mean, look, I'm trying to be hoity-toity, but I'm trying to, in any community, there's people that you want to spend time with and
right.
people you don't care about spending time with.
well, that's why you have to tune around, because they're all aspects of this.
Yeah.
And you'll find your niche. You'll find the people that can help you learn more and be into your particular genre of what you like to do.
Yeah.
And ham radio is just wide open. It's everything you want.
Well, I'm looking forward to finding the community of people that I want to talk to from time to time. Yeah.
Well, I can tell you there's a lot of them in Nashville, because I talked to some of them around there, and you have all kinds of things that happen on the amateur radio.
Okay.
And it just dial around and don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to jump in and say hello, and nobody's going to jump on you. They might not be what you want to talk about.
Hello, I'm on an ICOM.
Somebody gave me some good advice, which is hang out with a ham. Spend some time with a an Elmer, somebody who's been doing it for a long time, and just watch and listen and see. And then the next advice that he gave me, which is very good advice, is you don't have to go on and talk. You can go on and listen, can't you?
Right.
That's the best advice. I would suggest go on and listen. Tune around some different frequencies. You'll find the people you want to talk to, but just as important, you'll find the people you don't want to talk with as well, and know to avoid those particular frequencies.
So, George, they don't know I'm listening.
No, they have no clue.
No.
They don't know your IP address.
Well, that's the thing. You go in a chat room, people know you've gone into a chat room, but if you're just listening on the bands, you're passively listening. They don't know you. They don't.
They don't have a clue.
There are so many interesting things. Here, come up on the April the 19th, that's Thursday.
Okay.
You're going to be able to go in and tune up to listen to the young students. They're going to be at, let's see, where is that? The Flabab Airport.
That's correct, yes.
In California. Yeah. And it's the oldest surviving airport in California. And the young kids are going to be there, and they're going to talk to an astronaut aboard the International Space Station via ham radio.
And what band will they be talking on?
Well, they'll be doing this on 2 meters and 440.
I believe so. That is correct.
Yeah.
So you should be able to tune them in on many of the systems, such as the WIN system in Southern California.
Yeah.
And that system actually brings in people from all over the world on the same 2 meter and 440 VHF and UHF wavebands.
Yeah.
It's an awesome system.
And you can go up and get more information at their website, and that will give you some other places too to listen. It's a lot of fun to listen to these places and all kinds of things. Last week was a really cool thing. W0S, that's the station at the Titanic Museum in Branson.
Oh, how interesting.
And they have a group of guys there. They keep this station on the air, and they had a big deal because it was the 100th anniversary.
Yeah.
And boy, that was so much fun. And they're on a lot. And you can work these special event stations every weekend. You'll listen around, and you might get to listen to some of those special events. And
there was an interesting article in QST in the last month or two about the radio station on the Titanic itself.
Yes.
And interviews with, information about the the young men radio operators.
That's right.
Who ran that thing.
That's right.
Fascinating.
So there's all kinds of this stuff around, and get into some of the nets. There's various nets. I get on the air every Sunday when I can at 1 o'clock Central. It's the vintage single sideband net on 14292. And it's guys that have old transmitters. We're talking
fun.
mostly all tube stuff.
Wow.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it.
Will my ICOM radio pick that up?
Oh, absolutely.
But it
It's on
doesn't have
sideband.
any tubes in it.
No. That's okay. We have a lot of guys check in, and they don't have all the old Collins and Johnsons and Hallicrafters. And you want to tune into some of that stuff, 14292. And you talk about technical stuff, there are guys really getting into it. So listen around. Leo is right. You listen, and you'll find where you like to hang your hat. And don't be afraid to get in there and do it. It's really fun. And, of course, we try here on Ham Nation to bring you more and more things all the time. And we've got some really interesting guests coming up that are going to help a little bit learn more about what's going on. Joe Rudy's going to be on with us next Tuesday. Baseball star.
He's a ham.
He's a ham. He's a big-time ham. You know, I think he has 45 antennas up. Honest. And he is just a fabulous contest.
There are a lot of musicians, and I would bet a lot of baseball players are hams because they travel a lot, and it's a way for them to take a little radio with them in their hotel room, hang an antenna out the window. We told a story about that a little while ago. And kind of have some friends, have some commune going on while you're in a strange city, a strange town. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, don't miss next week. Joe's going to tell you a lot about some of the places to hang out.
That'll be fun. You know, we are at the NAB show, and I'm just wondering, you used to have you don't have a booth here, Bob, this year.
No, we just do the Ham Nation, the party, and now with all the Ham Nation stuff going on. So
is there ham gear?
He's
NAB?
got a huge booth tomorrow night at 6.
Yeah, he doesn't need much of a booth because there are a lot of hams coming. You said 800. Tim said 800 people were expected.
800.
That's amazing. That's all those broadcast engineers out there.
Right. They're great friends and clients, and it's our way of thanking them. And Tim joins us each year to do this, so it keeps it going. And we have a lot of fun. And what's really great is companies that have nothing to do with ham radio, they go out and buy Kenwood and ICOM and Yaesu transceivers, and they give all this stuff away.
Nice?
I think they've got $16,000 or something like this year.
Actually,
is there much ham stuff here at the show today? This year?
Not much. No. I did see a dummy load, which I think I want for my antenna. It was a 170 kilowatt dummy load. Yeah, it's the size of my apartment. So
I got to tell you a funny story. One of our fans is a chief engineer at KQED in San Francisco, and he was going up to the tower. I think it's Sutro where KQED is, and he said he found the old dummy load, and he's bringing it to me, and we're going to put it.
Wow.
Because I can fire up the Collins, I get that plate voltage up, and I don't have to worry so much about burning out the finals.
You got it.
So I got a dummy load is a good thing to have.
It's a good thing to have, definitely.
Yeah,
especially a high-powered one.
Yeah. How big was that?
170 kilowatt.
I think that'll be okay for a while with that.
Yeah, I think so. And you could heat your house from the rest of it for a couple of months as it cooled down.
Yeah, because that's where all that energy goes into heat, doesn't it?
All the RF goes to heat. That's right.
Frame rate is coming up in just a little bit. Broadcast Minds, our event at 6:30. Before we continue with Ham Nation, we got a few minutes left. I want to do another commercial.
You got it.
It's an embarrassment of riches, Mr.
No. We love these.
I love Pond 5. They are here at NAB. Pond 5 is the world's stock media marketplace, and they were great pains to say this is global. Many of their media makers are outside the U.S. In fact, that's one of the reasons you're going to like Pond 5. If you're looking for stock footage, let's say, of Kiev, they've got it because they've got media creators in Kiev and everywhere else around the world. I invite you to visit Pond 5, P-O-N-D, and the number 5.com, and just browse around. If you ever do PowerPoint presentations, George, you could use these in some smoke and solder. In fact, let's think. What would you like? Maybe an explosion? Something on fire?
I need some good smoke effects.
Smoke effects. All right, let's go. Let's do a search. Smoke on Pond 5. And, well, let's see here. Here's one. How about that? We could use that.
That'd work great.
How about this? Let's see. Oh, dear. Another experiment. Up in smoke. There's quite a few of these. Here's that dummy load, and it's doing quite well. This is fun, isn't it? You can browse around in Pond 5 and see so many wonderful things. Video, audio clips, sound effects. If you're doing a YouTube video, or maybe you're doing that reunion video, this is the place to go. Videos start as low as $5, sound effects as low as $2. They've got stock photography as well. And I do want to remind you, if you're a creator, to go to Pond 5 because they have the most generous royalties anywhere. You set the price. Pond 5 splits the proceeds with you 50-50. No one else comes even close. It is really a great, kind of almost a communal marketplace for people who create media, and often it's the same people who create media and who use media in their creations. Video, photos, illustrations, music, sound effects, even After Effects projects. They're all at pond5.com. And I'm going to tell you something, a little secret right now. First of all, every week a free clip. You can download 1080p video. And if you go to a very special URL now, between now and May 31st, I should always do this before I announce it. Let me see. www.pond5.com. There it is, a special offer for members of TWiT TV. 50 stock media files free. New York subway train arriving. Look at this. How about Manhattan traffic? You could use that. There's music here, a great business track for maybe your presentation, a digital timer. I could use that. There you go. I'm running out of time. I want you to, these are free, 50 of them, any ones you want. Take them all, add them to your cart, check out. It's a great way to experience what it's like to buy media on Pond 5, but also a great way to get us a bunch of free media. www.pond5.com/twit. We thank Pond 5 for being here. They're at NAB. They're having in fact, tomorrow afternoon's the last chance, 3 to 6. Go over there and have a beer with Pond 5. They're pouring. I had one. It was good.
Very nice. And George already has his credit card out.
Yeah. Some great stuff you could, smoke, and they probably have solder. I don't know.
We need to acknowledge the chat room. They mean so much to all the programs here on TWiT. But on Ham Nation, it got to be where we couldn't keep it all going. So we have Cheryl that watches.
She's great.
She is, and she's watching it today. And next week she'll answer some of the questions if anybody has anything.
I watch it, but I'm not going to do it without Cheryl. And so because we're here at NAB, we don't have the capability to bring her up.
Right, exactly. So. And Amanda's also. She's just great. Amanda does ham tales, just tales about things that happen in amateur radio. About news and weathercasters that their handy-talkie goes off when they're on the air, and stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff she talks about.
Hey, I found some soldering. Now you got to tell us if this is good technique. These guys are using soldering a wire on Pond 5. This is so you could use these close-ups.
I think I should actually upload some to there.
That's actually what you should do.
Yeah.
You seriously.
Yeah.
It's really easy to upload. It doesn't, and people buy it, then you make a little bit of money. But also maybe they'd have some better examples on here of soldering.
Right.
If George uploaded them. Huh?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. Well, we get into this stuff so much. Everybody says, "Oh, wow, we can't get into building things." No, what you got to do is you got to start real simple. And I did a thing recently. I found the cover it was actually part of an old Army transmitter that covered up the controls. Oh. And I took that little box and I put some jacks in it. Okay. And what I do with this, you can plug a microphone into here. And this is a push-to-talk switch. You can leave it on all the time, or you can have just a simple push-to-talk. So that lets your microphone, controls your transmitter, but then it comes out of the audio into this mini jack or RCA. So I can plug in a tape recorder, either one of the connectors. But what happens if I got a really hot signal and I want to put it into a mic level? So I put two more, but I put a potentiometer in the way so that now I can plug a tape recorder or whatever I want, signal generator or whatever. The night that I was doing the iPad with the tone out, it was really hot, so I put it into here first before I took it into the console, and it works great. And these are the simple little things that you start with. And people will say, well, I can't do that. Oh, yes, you can, because here's all it is. It's a simple wire and a couple of jacks. Well, jacks have they have two connections. And so what we do is we just simply wire those connections where we need them. And then when we put a pot in here, we do the same thing, and bingo, you've got all of the variable level control, and that's it. And this is how simple this all turns out to be. This is your push-to-talk switch in here. I'll show you. As fast as I drew
this
that.
This guy speaks schematic. I'm impressed.
But, Bob, here's the thing. It looks really simple on paper. But come on, show us the inside of that thing. It's going to be more complicated than that, surely.
No, it isn't. It's very simple.
Oh, wow.
This wire comes out of the jack, the microphone jack, and it's really just the audio line that feeds the potentiometer to ground, and then I just pick it off for each one of the jacks. Those two are the same level. These two I can make any level I want. It's that simple.
I remember seeing George scavenge parts, those kinds of parts, old stuff, and I saw some unique ways of doing it. We don't recommend wearing shorts while you're doing it. No. But can you still buy parts like that, or do you have to scavenge parts?
There are.
Where would you go?
Well, I go to a place in St. Louis called Gateway Electronics.
And you can walk in the door, say, I need a resistor, I need a... Wow.
Yes. They started out, Stu Bartfeld, he's passed on now, was a great ham friend of mine in the late 50s. He went out and bought surplus gear from McDonnell Douglas and all of these manufacturing places that have end runs, and they'd have leftover parts. You can still go there, still do the same thing. Lisa, his daughter, runs it now. Oh, it's a wonderful toy house. What is it? All Electronics is another one.
That's a good one.
I've used Zach online. I think there's a lot of places you can go to.
Jaymaco, DigiKey.
So if you're not in a town where you're lucky enough to have a place like that, you can go online.
I got to tell you, you can still get an amazing amount of stuff at Radio Shack, but the employees there won't know where it is.
No. I went in. It's funny. I went into a Radio Shack the other day. I said, "Do you still sell speaker wire?" And they said, "Yes, we do." And they pointed me in the back. Really? I was really thrilled. Yeah, there's still Radio Shacks that have components. They have resistors. They have pots. They have all that stuff. So thank goodness for Radio Shack. They're in a lot of small towns. They're the last place still selling that stuff.
That's right. They used to be more into parts. I understand they're trying to come back to the parts, but...
well, we're talking to Radio Shack because I want to get them to advertise on Ham Nation. And if we can get them to advertise on Ham Nation, then we can also get them to start carrying that stuff. Right. Maybe get their employees to start listening, get their license. We're going to do a revolution. What do you say?
You know, absolutely. The dirty little secret that broadcast engineers have is that if it wasn't for Radio Shack, most radio stations today would be off the air.
I think you're right. Because it's the last place in a lot of towns
you need a relay, you need a switch, something like that. I had to build up a project about a month ago to test some Telos gear that we're developing. And I had to, it's a simple thing, but I had to give a contact closure and a tone out at exactly the same time repeatedly. So I just used a double pull, double throw relay, a button to control it, had an external tone generator from Dick Smith Electronics in Australia.
Oh, I remember that.
And I ran that in a couple binding posts, and the output came out to some plugs that would go into the back of a piece of Telos gear. And I could push this button, and back at Cleveland, at the dev office, they would look at the incoming with an dual trace oscilloscope, and we refined a Telos product over my vacation this way.
And you're telling us that you can't get on.
I am impressed. I am impressed. Holy cow! Now I'm the guy who can't get on.
But you're not saying that Telos has Radio Shack parts in
No. Just for prototypes.
But I had to whip something up. And Leo, you know which end of a soldering iron to hold, don't you?
I think you hold the cold end. Is my belief.
Yeah. You're set then. You're good to
go. Hey, Bob, we just got a minute or two more. You want to start to wrap this? I hate to wrap the party up, but I know you're going to have a big one tomorrow.
Yeah, we are, and I want to invite everybody to stop by and see us on Ham Nation. And we have the replay, so if you can't be there every Tuesday night, although it's kind of fun when we are trying to put it together and don't know what we're doing just yet, but every Tuesday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time, just dial up the good old TWiT network and we'll be there. And we have a lot of fun, and it's very educational also, and it's something that everybody should watch. I have a lot of guys telling me, my wife, she didn't like this, but boy, she sure likes to see you guys, especially when that George burned something up.
No smoking cider this week. We'll be back, though, next week with it.
I've already got it done.
You got it done?
A good one.
All right. I really appreciate it.
And I I really appreciate all that you do for us.
We love this show. Are you kidding?
I brought along my new headsets.
I noticed a little Heil
Nobody's seen this. This is serial number 1.
Wow.
And it's something we've never done before is build a headset. We build hundreds of thousands, but they got booms on them.
Right.
This is the first one, and it's for the studio and ham radio and everybody else.
It looks comfortable, I have to say.
It is. It's great. Yeah. So I'm going to leave those with you.
The Pro Set 3. Yeah.
There we go.
Bob hates it when we have these Sennheiser headphones on.
Well, it's the fact that...
it should be an all-Heil stage.
No, it should be something that really plays and works well.
I agree.
And we're working on that. Got a lot of new things coming, and it's all because of ham radio.
I hear something at Hamvention. You're going to announce something. Amanda was saying something in the chat room about announcing you got a new headset or something you're going to announce at Hamvention.
Got this guy going to revolutionize the internet.
It's a good color.
Well, you know, there's a lot of these little mic things. Well, trying to get any kind of audio through a computer today is crazy.
Right.
What's that, Bob?
Well, this is our new piece. It looks like we're going to get a patent on this. It's a microphone preamp, but it has 2-band EQ in it.
Wow.
Bass and treble, plus or minus 12 dB shelving. Then it has a headphone amp out and, of course, D to A converter, USB.
Nice.
Now we can take a decent microphone, balanced, plug it in, equalize it. That's where we miss it all today, is equalization. And the USB-Q, it'll debut in Dayton. And again, this is all because of my amateur radio career. I could never do any of this if it wasn't for ham radio. And we listen to all of our clients, and we've had several guys on the test team with this, and a lot of them in that audience of yours, Leo, and we thank you very much.
And you know, there's one thing that we have not mentioned, but tomorrow is World Amateur Radio Day, worldwide, April 18th, marking the 87th anniversary of the founding of the International Amateur Radio Union.
Exactly.
So it's beginning now, I guess, in Australia and New Zealand, and will slowly spread around the world.
Exactly.
So let me be the first to say Happy Amateur Radio Day.
Exactly. And now we have well over 750,000 hams in America, and we know that close to 500...
That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, we know close to 500 of those are because of Ham Nation and your
500,000?
No, 500. Well, there's probably more, but Leo, I'm telling you, we get so many calls and emails, George,
we do.
and Gordo and I, and it's people that they get interested from watching Leo's network, and they go, wow, this looks like fun. Next thing you know, they're a ham. So
that's great.
We thank you. We thank everybody for watching Ham Nation, and stay in there. We got a lot coming on in the next year. Hope we're still here in a year, and good luck to everybody out there on learning the good old amateur radio creed, and we'll be here to talk to you on the air, man. Just call us up, okay?
Thank you, Kirk Harnack, for This Week in Radio Technology. Julian, thank you for being here. George, great to have you. Bob Heil, 7-3 from all of us. We'll see you next week on Ham Nation.
7-3, everybody.
7-3.